friends, I am Rashmi. Welcome to SRS Info. Today we will discuss some general studies questions. First question. The longest electrified rail tunnel in India is in which state? So, the longest electrified rail tunnel connects Cherlopalli and Rapuru railway stations. Cherlopalli and Rapuru railway stations. These railway stations are in Andhra Pradesh. So, the longest electrified rail tunnel in India is in Andhra Pradesh, and this comes under South Central Railway. It is the longest electrified tunnel. The length is 6.6 kilometer, and this cost around 460 crore rupees project. And the longest electrified railway is between Venkatachalam and Obulavaripalli railway stations. Okay, these are in Andhra Pradesh. So the longest electrified rail tunnel in India is in Andhra Pradesh, option D. The joint sitting of the Parliament is presided over by whom? Joint sitting of Parliament is presided over by the Speaker of Lok Sabha. Okay, so option C is the correct answer. And if the Lok Sabha Speaker is absent, then who will do it? Deputy Speaker. And if Deputy Speaker is also absent, then Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha will preside the joint sitting of the Parliament. But who summoned this joint sitting of Parliament? The joint sitting of Parliament is summoned by the President, which is mentioned in Article 108. Okay, and till now the joint session is conducted for only 4 bills in India. What are the 4 bills? One is the Dowry Prohibition Bill in 1961, and Banking Service Commission Bill in 1978, Prevention of Terrorism Bill in 2002, and Bill for Women Representation in 2008. 4 times the joint sitting of Parliament was presided over. Okay, so the answer is option C, Lok Sabha Speaker. Which of the following king is known as the Lord of Dakshinapada? The Lord of Dakshinapada was Gautamiputra Satakarni. Who was Gautamiputra Satakarni? He was the emperor of Satavahana Empire, and this empire was in Deccan region. Okay, so Gautamiputra Satakarni was the emperor of Satavahana kingdom, which was in Deccan region. The ruling period of the Satavahana kingdom was 100 BC to 2nd AD. This was the duration of Satavahana kingdom. There is a book or a writing called Nashik Prahasti. Nashik Prahasti. This was the noting of his mother Gautami Balashri. From these notings we get the idea of the mentioning of Lord of Dakshinapada to Gautamiputra Satakarni. The Puranas like Matsya and Vishnu Puranas and Bhagavad Gita also mentioned about Gautamiputra Satakarni. Okay. Simukha was the founder of Satavahana Empire. And who was Vikramaditya? He was a legendary ruler of ancient India, and he started the Vikram Samvat era after defeating Shakas. And we all know about Ashoka and Kanishka. Ashoka the Great was the Mauryan Empire, Kanishka Kushan Emperor. So the answer is option A, Gautamiputra Satakarni. Next, the World Commission on Environment and Development is popularly known as. The World Commission on Environment and Development is popularly known as Brundtland Commission. Gro Harlem Brundtland was the chairman of Brundtland Commission, which was established in 1983, and this commission was appointed by the then UN General Secretary. Who was the then UN General Secretary? Javier Pérez Cuéllar. And this commission was dissolved in 1987. What was the importance of this Brundtland Commission? The term sustainable development was coined and popularized by this Brundtland Commission. And this Brundtland Commission published a report which is known as Our Common Future. This was the report released by Brundtland Commission. It was dissolved in 1987. Next, Yellowstone, the first national park in the world, is located in which country? Yellowstone National Park, which is the first national park in the world, is located in United States of America, and it was established in 1872. And this national park is very famous for its specific geothermal features like Old Faithful Geyser and Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon one of the most important and famous geothermal features of this Yellowstone National Park. And this is the centerpiece of the Greater Yellowstone ecosystem. And what is the speciality of this Greater Yellowstone ecosystem? This is the largest remaining nearly intact ecosystem in the Earth's most northern temperate zone. In the northern temperate zone, this ecosystem is one of the nearly intact ecosystem. Okay, so that this ecosystem is very important, and this is the part of the South Central Rockies Forest region. So this is the importance of this Yellowstone National Park. This is the first national park in the world. Where is the headquarters of UN Human Settlements Program, which is also known as UN Habitat. The headquarters of United Nations Human Settlement Program is in Nairobi. Nairobi is in Kenya. By the way, it is established in 1978 and this is maintained by United Nations General Assembly. Okay. Now, the current executive director of this UN Habitat is Maimuna Mohammed, who is the first Asian and first woman to hold this position. Okay. So the current executive director of UN Habitat is Maimuna Mohammed, who is the first woman and first Asian to reach this position. And what are the goals of this UN Habitat? Mainly there are two goals for this UN Habitat. One is adequate shelter for all. The second is development of sustainable human settlements in the urbanizing world. And Paris is the headquarters of UNESCO. Berlin is the capital of Germany. There are a number of international organizations which are headquartered in Geneva. Some of them are World Trade Organizations, World Meteorological Organizations, World Intellectual Property Organizations, International Labour Organization, World Economic Forum, WHO. A lot of international organizations are headquartered in Geneva. Where is Geneva? It is in Switzerland. But the capital of Switzerland is Bern. But Geneva is headquartered for many of the international organizations. Next, which of the following is a mechanical property associated with solid matters? So here, elasticity is the mechanical property which is associated with solid matters. What is elasticity? This is a solid material, for example, rubber, polymer. These are the examples of solid which shows the property of elasticity. Suppose some solid material, some small stone is placed over here, or otherwise we push this rubber into this two sides, that we put pressure or force on it, then what will happen? It will deform into the extension of this shapes. Okay, it will try to extend its shape. Why? It resists the distorting influence. It resists the external force, so that it extends. Okay, this capacity, this ability, or this mechanical property of solid is called as elasticity. It is the ability of a body to resist a distorting influence and to return to its original size. Then when we release this force from here, or when we take up the stone from here, then what will happen? This material comes back into its original size. Okay, this property is known as elasticity, and this is the mechanical property of solid. What about flotation? It is the mechanical property of liquids. What is the principle of flotation says? For understanding the flotation, we have to understand the Archimedes principle. What Archimedes principle says? Suppose this is liquid water, okay? Suppose a ship or a boat is here. The upward bend or the upthrust of this liquid force that exerted on this body which is immersed in a fluid, either fully or partially, the upward thrust will be equal to the weight of the fluid that is replaced by this solid body. Okay, when the solid body is immersed into this liquid, either partially or fully, the upthrust, the buoyant force is exerted by this fluid on this body. This will be equal to the weight of the fluid replaced by this body. This is Archimedes principle says, and based on this principle, the flotation works out. Principle of flotation says that when any object displaces a weight of water equal to its own weight, then it floats. This is the principle of flotation. Capillarity is also the mechanical property of a liquid. What is capillarity? Suppose this is a cotton thread, then we put oil here, then what will happen? The oil will flows upward without any external support. Okay, this is the quality or the mechanical property of this liquid, to flow in narrow spaces without the assistance of any external force. Okay, there is no need of any support of this external forces like gravity, and it flows opposite to the external force. The gravity pushes here, but the fluid goes upward. This mechanical property of liquid is known as capillarity. What is atmospheric pressure? This is the pressure exerted by the weight of the air in the atmosphere on the surface of the earth. So the mechanical property associated with solid matters is elasticity. Option D is the answer. Next, who is the author of Indian Struggles? Indian Struggle is one of the famous book written by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. He also wrote many other important books like An Indian Pilgrim, Azad Hind, Alternative Leadership. All these are the books of Subhash Chandra Bose. And who gave this title Netaji to him? He was called Netaji by the Indian soldiers of Azad Hind Fauj. When he went to Germany, the Indian soldiers of Azad Hind Fauj of Germany gave him this title Netaji. Okay, and Swaraj was the newspaper of Subhash Chandra Bose, and he was depicted on Indian stamp in 1964. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was the first person to call Mahatma Gandhi as the father of nation. He was the first person to call Mahatma Gandhi as the father of nation. And what are the famous slogans of Subhash Chandra Bose? Jai Hind, give me blood, I shall give you freedom. These are the famous slogans of Subhash Chandra Bose. And he is also famous for his leadership of Indian National Army, INA. And he became the president of INC 2 times. When first was in 1938 in Haripur and in 1939 in Tripuri. But 2 times he became the president of Indian National Congress. So Indian Struggle was written by Subhash Chandra Bose. What about Rajendra Prasad? Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the first president of India, and his books were India Divided, one of the famous book by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, India Divided, and At the Feet of Mahatma Gandhi, Satyagraha in Champaran. These were the famous books written by Dr. Rajendra Prasad. What about Jawaharlal Nehru? He was the first Prime Minister of independent India. Discovery of India, Glimpses of the World History, The Unity of India. These are some of the books of Jawaharlal Nehru. And Gandhiji, again a lot of books. My Experiments with the Truth, his autobiography. Then Indian Home Rule, Pathway to God, India of My Dreams. These are some of the writings of Gandhiji. So the answer of this question, the author of Indian Struggle is Subhash Chandra Bose. Which of the following is a UNESCO World Heritage Mixed Site? The question is UNESCO World Heritage Mixed Site. So Kanchenjunga National Park. Kanchenjunga National Park of Sikkim is the only mixed World Heritage Site in India. UNESCO World Heritage Sites are listed into 3 categories: cultural, then natural and mixed. Mainly the heritage sites are categorized into 3 types: cultural, natural and mixed. Highest number of World Heritage Sites are enlisted in 2 countries. One is China and other is Italy. Both these countries have 55 World Heritage Sites which are enlisted under UNESCO. What about India? India has 38 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and India is in the 6th position. The first one is China and Italy. India is in the 6th position, and out of this 38, 30 are cultural and 7 are natural. 1 is mixed, and that one is this Kanchenjunga National Park, Sikkim. There is a Kanchenjunga mountain, okay, and this Kanchenjunga mountain is the 3rd highest peak in the world. There is a tribe in this Kanchenjunga National Park. What is it? Lepcha tribe. This is very important. Lepcha tribe you can see in Kanchenjunga National Park. Kanchenjunga National Park was enlisted in the UNESCO Heritage Site in 2016, July. Then Ajanta Caves. Ajanta Caves is also UNESCO World Heritage Site in the cultural category, and it was enlisted in 1983. It is in Aurangabad, which is in Maharashtra. Ajanta caves are very famous for the Buddhist religion art. The arts in the Ajanta caves are the masterpieces of Buddhist religion. And it consists of 30 Buddhist cave monuments. There are 30 rock monuments which is believed to be constructed between 2nd century BC to 480 century. And the river nearby the Ajanta river is, what is it? What is the river? It is Vaghur in Maharashtra, which flows very near to Ajanta caves. And this is in Deccan Plateau. What about Manas National Park? Manas National Park in Assam. Some parts of this Manas National Park also belong to Bhutan. Okay, and the national park in Bhutan is known as Royal Manas National Park. Why this national park is known as Manas National Park? Because the tributary of Brahmaputra, that is Manas River, flows through this national park. So this national park is known as Manas National Park. This is also World Heritage Site, and it became the World Heritage Site in 1985. It is enlisted into the list in 1985. It became the national park in 1990. Earlier it was a sanctuary. It is recognized as sanctuary in 1928 and bioreserve in 1973, and it became national park in 1990. It enlisted in the UNESCO site in 1985. Then the rock shelters of Bhimbetka. Where is it? It is in Raisan district, Raisan in Madhya Pradesh. This is also coming under the UNESCO World Heritage Site, and this is an archaeological site. Okay, and this gives the evidence of Stone Age evidences in India, and it gives the earliest traces of human life in India. So this is very important. The rock shelters of Bhimbetka gives the evidences for the earliest traces of human life in India, and these rock shelters exist inside the Rathapani Wildlife Sanctuary, where we can see the rock shelters of Bhimbetka. And this site consists of 7 hills. You just understand the point that this site consists of 7 hills like Vinayaga, Bondravali, Bhimbetka, Lakhwa Jowar, Jondra, Muni Baba Ki Pahadi. Bhimbetka, see the name here. Okay, this is also the one of the hill in the site of this rock shelters. This became the member of this UNESCO Heritage Site list in 2003 in the cultural category. Okay, so the mixed site is Kanchenjunga. Next, which of the following emperors is the chain of justice associated with? The chain of justice is associated with the Mughal emperor Jahangir. Jahangir was the 4th Mughal emperor. His reign was between 1605 to 1627. What was the meaning of Jahangir? The meaning of Jahangir is conqueror of the world. In Persian language, it is known as the conqueror of the world. Jahan means world. Gir means conqueror. Jahangir, the conqueror of the world. His real name was Nuruddin Muhammad Salim. Nuruddin Muhammad Salim was his real name. What is the chain of justice? Jahangir had placed a long golden chain with bells on the wall of his palace, so that anyone who had been subjected to injustice could come to the palace and pull the chain and make his or her complaint heard or redressed. So there was a golden chain he was fitted on the wall of his palace to give the complaint by any of the person who is subjected to injustice. Okay, the implementation of justice process was known as chain of justice. Okay, and 12 rules of conduct was also associated with Jahangir. 12 rules of conduct, also known as Dastur al-Amal. These 12 rules demonstrate his concern about the welfare of the people. We have already discussed about Ashoka and Kanishka. And what about Samudragupta? He was a Gupta Empire, 350 to 375 CE. This was the reign of Samudragupta. So the chain of justice is associated with Jahangir. This was our last question. Thank you for watching.